My name is John Perry, and I am the Managing Director of Evolve Health. We have been working with Beyond Marketing since I believe we started the first campaign in August of 2020. So we're not even at a year yet, but we've had quite a significant amount of interest that has been brought in to our practice and to our service in Spravato for major depressive disorder and treatment-resistant depression. I think since we started, we've had over 1,350 leads since we started in mid-August. Yeah, I was speaking with Jensen Neuroscience, or the makers of Spravato, and was talking to them. And we're a fairly small clinic. We've got 7 treatment rooms here in Portland, Oregon, and we are considered top tier of all of the administration sites across the country. He didn't say we were number one, but he said we were top tier. And when I look at that against the kind of places that are doing Spravato administration, I took that to my staff and said, you guys are doing an amazing job at this. 3 months ago, I believe, we brought in a full-time person. We brought Ashley in to do this, every day, all day. She has a few other, she had a few other marketing responsibilities, and now she doesn't. So she literally only handles our Spravato stuff, and we have, she fields scores of calls a week. Sometimes, especially over a weekend, she'll have 20, 25 calls when she comes in on Monday morning to, or 25 leads that have come in through the Facebook campaign to deal. And we just are kicking off our Google campaign, so we're interested to see how that's going to work. We have 20 patients that are in treatment now, come all the way through, and we have another 14 that are still in the works. And so we have a fairly low what we consider a break even on this campaign, and we have exceeded that. The training that you guys provide is probably one of the biggest things that got me to sign up for it, because I don't have time as the business owner to do that kind of training for my staff. And then I went through the training and got a lot of ideas of how to do it. You go through any kind of training like that, and it's generic training. And so your processes, your business processes might be slightly different, but opening yourself up to, because you guys have seen a lot of different practices in your experience. And so it's kind of nice because we don't always call up one another. I have competitors here in town in Portland, and I don't call them up and say, hey, so what are your best practices? And so having a marketing company that's kind of worked with a bunch of different companies and had some experiences, you guys bring that and kind of bring it all together and say, hey, here's some best practices that we've seen and that you have seen in your sales and marketing experience of how to bring a patient in the door for that first treatment. And so we just kind of take the wisdom that you've gleaned, put it together with the wisdom that we've gleaned from our own experience in this market, and you come up with it's a synergy that just is greater than the sum of its parts. I see a partnership that will continue as we go into new markets. We opened up a clinic in Eastern Oregon, and already, when we just started the campaign, and we already have 228 leads on that market, and we have 34 people trying to get referrals from their mental health, and a couple of auths have already come through. So we're actually So from our first one, where it took 3.5 months basically to get to our first patient, this we started in early April, and we've already seen our first couple of patients that came through in the MOVE campaign, and we have 4 more in the works. So our process is improving, and our process of bringing those patients in the door and getting them treatment is improving. I'd say don't do it unless you're committed. Jump in and really commit to it. I watched the videos when I was looking at this, and I watched Scott tell me that I needed to have a full-time person dedicated to this, and I said, Scott, you don't know. And I was wrong. I admitted to Scott that I was wrong, because you have to respond to those leads. Especially with this particular disease process with major depressive disorder and treatment-resistant depression, our patients are in a very vulnerable place. And when they have reached out through this campaign, whether it was through Instagram or Facebook or however they've come in, or they were searching in Google, they're ready and looking. But if you go back to them 2 days later, they might be at a completely different place, and they may not be open to that. And so if you don't get back to them right away, then you miss that window of opportunity where they're no longer looking, or they're not in the same mental space. And so this is not, it's very different than a commercial, direct to consumer kind of, application of I'm trying to sell widgets to someone. It's very different because there's a much larger commitment process. It's not just a instant gratification. I'm gonna hit the buy button and I get what I want. This is a commitment that they have to make and go through a significant process with multiple providers, getting a referral, all of these things. And so capturing them in that moment where they're willing to take that step, and having someone to respond to them and who understands your business. That's another thing. You may be thinking about, oh, well, I'll give this, to the front desk, and the front desk is going to handle it. Well, unless your front desk knows the depth of your treatment process and can describe what the treatment is and your entire process, don't give it to them, because that's not the person that's going to actually be able to educate your patients and bring them in the door for treatment. We've raised to a certain level of performance, I think, because of a commitment to our patients and to the education process. And Beyond has just been a very important partner in that process.